Who approves Nen contracts? For example, Chrollo has to steal a national treasure in order to upgrade his ability Skill Hunter. How does he know that he needs to steal specifically that, and who decided that that was a sufficient requirement? Let's talk about it. All right, so first of all, shout out to Scotty for asking me this question today, and y'all can pause to read the whole thing, but I actually get variations of this question all the time. And essentially it boils down to, where does this understanding of cosmic balance come from? How does somebody know that they need to give up this in order to get that in a Nen contract? So let's examine this, and let's start by taking a look at how you even get your Nen ability in the world of Hunter x Hunter. And while you are born with a specific Nen affinity, you don't have any limitations on what you can do with your Nen ability. It is entirely up to your own imagination, to the extent where you could even craft an ability in a Nen affinity that is supremely weak for you. Now, you're not going to have the best time doing that, and it's going to be wildly inefficient, but you can still do it, right? So as far as Chrollo deciding that, he wanted to have an ability that steals other abilities, or Kurapika deciding that he wanted to have chains with his ability because that's the first thing that came to his mind, he could do that. You have complete creative control. But if everybody has that creative freedom, what's stopping everyone from just making the most overpowered, broken ability that there is, right? My ability is just going to be that I instantly kill everyone else. Well, that's where the nuance of this power system comes into play. That's when we're gonna have to talk about what your Nen affinity is and how efficient you are with your aura and how strong you're able to make something, right? That's where these Nen contracts in this balance come into play. Because yes, Kurapika wanted to create chains to restrict his enemies, the Phantom Troop, right? But they're incredibly strong, and he's a pretty novice Nen user. So how are his chains gonna feasibly restrict somebody as strong as Uvo? And that's where a Nen contract comes in. Kurapika made this vow, this exchange where, hey, I will never use this chain on anybody that's not a Phantom Troop member, or else I will die. In exchange for that, my chains are going to be super strong. So who told Kurapika that this would be a fair and balanced exchange? How did he know that this would work? Well, the answer isn't God. It's not some innate understanding of the universe, nor is it a Nen mentor, because as we see here, Kurapika's own instructor told him that this could not be done. It's not possible to conjure a chain that's unbreakable. So how did Kurapika know this? Well, he determined it himself. It was based on his own resolve that he determined that trade would be worthwhile. Because your resolve, willpower, determination, whatever you want to call it, has a direct relationship with your aura and your Nen and your power, right? It's one of the qualities that we hear singled out the most when it comes to Gon and our other MCs. Just how much resolve these kids have and how that translates to their talent and their potential. We know that your Nen is essentially your life force. It is a reflection of you in that way. So the more strong-willed and determined you are, the more concrete things you're going to be able to do with it. Perhaps the best example of this is Gon's contract, where he sacrifices everything in order to attain all of the power he needs in order to defeat Pito. This isn't a contract that just anyone could do, right? If you're on your deathbed, you can't just be like, okay, let me just make this contract anyway, right? No, Gon was perhaps even uniquely capable of making this vow because of how strong-willed and determined he was in that moment. He did not care. He was willing to throw it all away. And because he had that truth to his spirit, he was able to perform this contract and transform his body in this way. Now you might be saying, okay, well, if I am the one truly in control of crafting these Nen contracts, why are they making it so difficult on themselves, right? Like, why did Gon throw his whole life away for power? And why did Kurapika stake his life just to make Chain Jail stronger? Why didn't he just say sacrifice wearing pink on Wednesdays instead? And it's because of that resolve and that determination, right? If Kurapika had just thrown away that, it wouldn't really represent anything meaningful for him, right? He would be lying to himself if he pretended that wearing pink on Wednesdays was a worthwhile trade for that amount of power. But no, his life, literally staking everything on something, is an obvious reflection of your resolve in that moment. So it's worth that much power. Now, there is an argument to be made that if you were like literally crazy, like a psychopath, and you, for whatever reason, thought wearing pink on Wednesdays was the most important thing in the world, then I think that could be a worthy trade. The point is, the determining factor is the person themselves. So how does Chrollo know that he needs to steal a national treasure? Well, it's because it's based on his own assessment of what he needs to do to equal the power that he desires. And that's based upon his own experience having crafted this ability around the idea of stealing things, right? So stealing a national treasure in his mind is equivalent to the power that he seeks. And because he truly and earnestly believes that, it is true. And it's because the power system operates in this way that those with the strongest wills are the most formidable, because they're the ones that actually have the resolve to conceive of and then perform these feats. And then Scotty also asked me this question, and y'all can pause to read the whole thing, but he's essentially asking if Meruem were to get stuck by Shalnark's needle, would it just be game over? Would he just win? Or is Meruem too strong where it wouldn't affect him that way? Now, this is a great question that I think deserves a nuanced answer. And in my opinion, if we're going to assume that whatever ability we're talking about actually connects and lands with somebody, then I don't think power differential matters. So if Shalnark actually gets his needle into Meruem's neck, I don't think how strong Meruem is going to save him. I think he's going to be subjugated to Shalnark and will be his puppet. However, that's much easier said than done, right? And I don't think Shalnark could ever get that needle in his neck due to their power differential. And we even know in this scene here, he talks about, I might not even be able to get this needle into a normal chimera ant because of their shell. And just to show my work here, the reason I think this is because we've never seen anyone in the series like overcome an ability in that way. And we even see Hisoka comment on Chrollo's strategy with a manipulation ability in this way. Because he's using Shalnark's black box, Hisoka knows that he can't get close and let his guard down against Chrollo because it's an instant win con. Before anybody brings up this moment where Killua rips out Illumi's needle and overcomes his ability, I don't think that's an equivalent comparison here, because that needle was just there to subtly influence Killua's behavior, right? For him to run away. It wasn't a needle that was fully controlling Killua, and if it had been, I don't think Killua could have overcome it in that way. It was just the specific application that he was able to remove, and then that influence was gone. And to circle back to Scotty's question on if this is the case, where you can't just be strong enough to wash something away, what other abilities might give Meruem a tough time? And I certainly think all of the manipulation ones are basically any ability that's an instant win con, assuming it goes off, right? If Meruem doesn't take that seriously, then he would get got, right? Like, I think Melody would be able to put him into a trance if he didn't protect his ears. So basically any of the insta-win things. Anyways, y'all, that's just one moron's opinion, so please let me know your thoughts down below on both the Nen Contract stuff and the power differential stuff, because I would love to hear it. And before y'all get out of here, I also want to give a big shout out to Crimson, who sent in some support with no question, just wanted to show some love. So thank you so much, man. And to anybody else who has sent in some questions over the holidays, I am getting to those. I've just been out of town, so I'm playing catch up. But as always, y'all, thank you for watching.